Here's the truth. Most real estate deals don't fall apart over price. They fall apart over inspections. The roof, the AC, the tone of the negotiation. This is where emotions take over and logic walks right out the door. But if you know how to read that report, you can turn a deal breaker moment into a deal maker. In this video, I'll show you how to tell the difference between a real deal breaker and a repair that you can easily handle, how to use your repair credits to your advantage without getting stuck in permit headaches, and how to keep emotions out of the inspection process so you can stay focused on value and not perfection. Think of real estate like building a bridge. Every phase, offer, inspection, appraisal, adds a section of that structure. So when the inspection hits, that's the stress test. It's where the weak connections get exposed. And if one side panics or starts pulling boards instead of reinforcing them, that whole bridge collapses. But when you know which parts are just cosmetic cracks and which are actually load-bearing supports, you can strengthen that bridge instead of watching it all fall apart. That's the mindset that keeps a deal steady through inspections, and it's exactly what we're diving into today. When that inspection report lands in your inbox, it can feel really overwhelming. Pages of notes, photos, and bolded words like deficiency and safety concern. But here's the thing, not everything that sounds serious actually is. After years in construction, I can tell you there's a huge difference between cosmetic wear and structural weakness. A cracked tile, a missing outlet cover, or faded caulking around a sink, that's not going to affect the safety or the value of your home. That's just life that's happening within the four walls. What really matters are the home's health systems, those big ticket items that keep everything running safely and efficiently. The roof, HVAC, your electrical, plumbing, pool, and your hurricane protection. Think of these as the vital organs of the home. If they're compromised, it's not just an aesthetic issue. It affects insurance, safety, and long-term costs. So instead of reacting to every note in the report, zero in on the essentials. Ask, does this impact the home's function, safety, or insurance? If not, it's likely a fix you can handle later. That shift from chasing perfection to protecting value is what separates emotional buyers from strategic ones. It's how you keep negotiations grounded and your investment strong. The inspection process is only as good as the person that you have conducting it. You want somebody thorough, someone who doesn't miss the small details, but you also don't want an alarmist who turns every maintenance note into a 5-alarm fire. A great inspector tells you the truth without the drama. They point out what's real, what's routine, and what's urgent. That balance matters because the tone of their report sets that tone for the entire negotiation. If you can, be present for the inspection. Walk through the home, ask questions, and see things firsthand. You'll learn more in 2 hours alongside your inspector than from 20 pages of a PDF later. And here's where my construction background comes in. I can tell within minutes which inspectors overstate issues and which give you an honest read. You want a doctor who explains, not one who panics. An inspector should diagnose, not dramatize. Take their findings seriously, but not personally. Their job is to find potential problems. Yours is to understand which ones actually matter. That's how you stay calm, informed, and in control when that report comes in. When a major issue shows up, like a failing AC, roof damage, or outdated electrical, there are 2 ways to handle that. You can ask the seller to fix it, or you can negotiate a repair credit. And in most cases, the credit is the smarter move. I'll tell you why. When you take a repair credit, you control how and when the work gets done. You can choose your own contractor, ensure it's done right, and avoid last-minute rush jobs meant to just close a deal. Plus, you're less likely to run into open permit situations. Big systems like HVAC or roofing often require permits, and if the seller replaces something before closing, that permit might not be closed out in time, and that can potentially delay closing altogether. A repair credit keeps things clean. You get the funds at closing, you handle the work after you move in, and you make sure it's done to your standards. For sellers, offering a credit can often save time and stress. No coordinating contractors, no scheduling chaos, and no waiting on permits. So when the inspection reveals something major, remember, the goal isn't a free renovation, it's a fair adjustment. Money gives flexibility and credits keep the deals moving. Here's where a lot of buyers get tripped up. The inspection report comes in and suddenly every scuff, squeak, or scratch feels like a problem to them. They start asking for every little thing: paint touch-ups, outlet covers, loose handles, and before long, the seller's frustrated and that deal starts to wobble. This is called nitpicking, and it's one of the fastest ways to lose leverage in a negotiation. Small asks don't just waste negotiation energy, they really make you look unreasonable. So when you focus on the trivial, you lose credibility when it's time to talk about the real issues. Sellers start wondering if you'll ever be satisfied, and that irritation can cost you thousands in concessions you might have otherwise received. Remember, you're buying a home, not a new build. Lived-in homes have quirks. A worn hinge, a missing outlet plate, they're not deal breakers. They're just part of the story. So you need to focus on the items that affect value, safety, or insurability. Those are the repairs worth negotiating. Everything else, handle it after closing and do it your way. A calm, value-focused approach keeps you in control and shows the seller that you're serious about closing, not nitpicking your way out of the deal. When that inspection report lands, take a breath before you react. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you see pages of issues, but staying calm is what separates smooth closings from failing deals. Start by sorting the findings into 3 categories. You have critical, moderate, and cosmetic. Your critical issues affect safety or structure, like roof leaks, faulty wiring, or plumbing problems. Moderate items might include an older system nearing the end of its lifespan. And cosmetic issues are the minor ones, the easy to fix and not worth negotiating. Once you've organized the list, get quotes from licensed contractors for those big ticket items. Hard numbers give you credibility and make your requests easier to justify. Instead of just saying, the AC looks old, you can say, we received a quote for replacement around $7,000. Would you consider a credit toward that? Facts keep the discussion objective and solution focused. Your tone matters just as much as the facts. Treat it like a partnership, not a confrontation. Phrases like, help me understand, or let's see how we can make this work. Keep both sides engaged and cooperative. You don't have to win every point. You just need to protect your value. Staying calm, informed, and respectful often gets you further than demanding ever will. The goal isn't to win the argument. It's to close the deal on solid, fair terms. Some inspection findings don't just affect negotiation. They can stop a sale entirely. In Florida, insurance and financing go hand in hand, and in certain conditions, they can make a home uninsurable, which means it's effectively unsellable to most buyers. Here's what to watch for: major roof deficiencies, outdated electrical systems like knob and tube wiring, leaking or corroded plumbing, and significant structural cracks or foundation issues. These aren't just costly repairs, they're potential deal breakers. If an insurer won't cover the home, a lender then won't finance it. That's why Florida uses 2 key reports for older homes. We have the 4-point inspection, which evaluates the roof, your electrical, your plumbing, HVAC, and then we have the wind mitigation inspection, which checks for hurricane protections. And if these homes fail these inspection reports, you could face high premiums or outright denial of coverage. Before you even get to the inspection, know your deal breakers. Are you willing to take on a full roof replacement? Would you walk if the home needs a new electrical panel? Setting those limits in advance, it helps you make clear, unemotional decisions when that report arrives. If something turns up that truly threatens safety or financing, it's really okay to walk away. But if the issue is manageable and you can negotiate a fair credit or repair, that's often the smarter move. The key is understanding the difference between a problem that needs attention and one that ends the deal entirely. If you're selling, one of the best ways to keep a deal from falling apart is to face inspections before a buyer ever schedules one. A pre-listing inspection can reveal issues early, giving you time to fix what matters, and it will also allow you to price your home accordingly. Think of it like running a systems check before you take off. You're making sure everything critical, your roof, your HVAC, your plumbing, your electrical, is in safe working order. If something major comes up, you can address it up front instead of scrambling mid-contract. In Florida, sellers are required to disclose material defects anyway. So doing a pre-inspection just gives you the advantage of control. You can choose your contractors, get competitive bids, and decide whether to repair, disclose, or adjust your price. And here's the bonus. When buyers see that you've already done that work ahead of time, and you have the documentation ready, your permits closed, your repairs completed, they gain confidence in your home. It sets the tone for a transparent transaction and smoother negotiations later. They trust you. Preparation is power. When you know the true condition of your home, you're not reacting, you're leading. That confidence can be the difference between a deal that falls apart and one that closes full circle. At the end of the day, an inspection isn't a battle, it's your blueprint. It shows you what's working, what needs attention, and what adds character to the home. When you can read that blueprint clearly, you don't panic, you plan. You don't lose leverage, you lead. And when both sides focus on value over perfection, that's when deals come together instead of falling apart. That's all for this video. I know it was a little long, but it's got some important information in it. So hopefully you got some value from it. Go ahead and tap that like button and subscribe for some more grounded, practical, real estate advice. My contact information is below. So if you'd like to have a deeper conversation about your situation or the Weston market, please reach out. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.